Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Puerto Rico, sort of. It's down there somewhere. Posted a couple short videos in the last couple days about these high-level clouds that are now showing up in Microsoft Flight Simulator. That's really pretty cool stuff. Definitely adds a lot. Definitely adds a lot to the experience. Flying right now in the Aerosouth CRJ. We are the CRJ 900. We are currently en route to Princess Juliana Airport. And this is, let's see, maybe my 5th attempt to get the VOR Zulu approach correct into Juliana. We're just coming up on the east coast of Puerto Rico now, the west coast of Puerto Rico. So I always flew the RNAV approach into St. Maarten, and you would commonly find people flying the Yaluba-1 arrival, and in real life this is flying the VOR Zulu approach. So if you look at the Yaluba-1 arrival, let me pin the RNAV approach here real quick. So if you look at the Yaluba-1 arrival, it's fairly straightforward, right? I mean, Slugo and Gouda from basically from the northwest. You know, like if you're coming from the States, this is what you're gonna get. If you're coming from Europe, you're gonna get Manolo or Trinky. A lot of the Caribbean flights are Lopo or Zapata. But it's pretty straightforward. Gouda into Elora to Yaluba. And then Yaluba picks up well, you see you get this notation right here. Expect vectors to execute the VOR Zulu 10 approach straight in. Alright, well, let's have a look at the VOR Zulu approach. If I can. Yeah, let's have a look at the VOR Zulu approach. Alright, the VOR Zulu approach, you got the DME arc, which everybody loves a good DME arc, right? You also get this, at least one of the same, or a couple of the same, Dandy, Gouda, and Trinky are the same in terms of feeder routes, right? And so I figured I'd use Gouda and then feed into the Yaluba to De Beer and then the VOR Zulu approach. Well, actually, no, I didn't think that, because what I thought was, why would you bother doing any of this when you've got an RNAV approach? RNAV approach is simple. You know, you've got Gouda, Juice, Slugo, Gabul, you come right in, straight into Avaki. Avaki 2600 down to 17 at Lessor, then you don't get vertical guidance because it's an LNAV approach. LNAV is lateral navigation. So, but to keep this rather simple, I figured, why would you bother? Why would anybody fly the VOR approach if you have a choice? And you do have a choice. For a long time after Irma, the VOR was out of service. It didn't make any. There was no debating. You flew the RNAV approach. So I just couldn't figure out why anybody would want to fly the VOR approach when you can fly the RNAV approach. Well, let's have a look and see if we can figure out why. These are the minimums for the LNAV approach, 700 feet. Let's go to the VR Zulu approach, minimums, 500 feet. That's why people fly the RNAV, the VR approach. So I figured, all right, let me challenge myself because it's a more difficult approach. And I tried to make it easier on myself by flying it from Gouda, which is not generally what you would get coming from Miami. So I figured Gouda straight into Uluba. I'm going to unpin this because I'm not going to look at it anymore. Straight into Uluba. And then Uluba to your initial approach fix, and you're in, right? Well, I kept having problems, and I couldn't figure out for the life of me what it is. And look how awesome these clouds look. And this is like, if you've ever flown down here in real life as a passenger, presumably, this is really what it looks like. These types of clouds, it's just awesome. It's so cool to see. To see these kind of high misty clouds and low cumulus, and it's just awesome. Anyway, 14 minutes from the top of descent. So I figured, all right, I'm gonna figure out how to fly the Uluba one arrival, because whatchamacallit, SimBrief always wants to give you the Uluba one arrival, but I don't want the Uluba one arrival because I'm flying the RNAV approach. Is the way I used to go about it. And so I said, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to figure this out. So it looks pretty straightforward, right? Come on, cool it. Gouda to Uluba. Gouda, Elora, Uluba. And then Uluba you pick up inbound, right? Well, it's not quite that simple. It actually is that simple, but the way the FMS works in the CRJ, part of it was my own mistake, because what I would do was, Gouda was already in the flight plan because it's part of the Uluba arrival. And when I would enter, so you can enter an arrival in your flight plan, but you can't enter a approach until you're actually in the sim. So you can't load an approach in SimBrief. You can only load an arrival, and then you get in the plane, set up the flight plan, load the arrival, or excuse me, load the approach. So basically, the arrival would be loaded, right? Gouda, Elora, Uluba in. But what I would do, which was my mistake, and this is just not thinking, I would load the approach with the transition of Gouda. So what that did is it put Gouda in the legs list twice, right? So let's see, you're looking at legs. I'd be coming down here, and you get to like Koi and all this stuff, and I'd have like I'd have like 3 different, actually usually 2 discontinuities. And I would just pick one of the Goudas and eliminate the discontinuity, but I would generally pick the wrong one. And so what would happen is, and I couldn't quite figure it out, I would come down the approach, Gouda inbound, and there'd be like this spot right around Uluba where it just jumped a little bit to the left. The inbound course, and the thing is, you'll notice it says expect vectors. So I started thinking to myself, well, there's probably going to be a discontinuity if you're expecting vectors. But what I wasn't paying attention to is the difference here. Gouda, Elora, Uluba, that's the arrival. The approach is Gouda, D272 Juliet, Uluba. It just didn't register with me. Now what is this D272 Juliet? What it is, it leads you when you're doing the DME arc. This is where you're going to start getting your turn in to intercept the inbound course. So by just being lazy and not really looking at the charts carefully, it's all about the details in the charts. And so I finally figured it out. So now, as you can see, I've got Gouda, Elora, Uluba. Then we come over here to the approach. Uluba, no more D272 Juliet. Uluba, De Beer, MA10, which is the 2.0 DME missed approach point. So, if you're still awake, I think I've got this figured out. Incidentally, I got a really cool. I've fallen back in love with flying the CRJ in the last week and a half. I flew it for a while earlier in the year, stopped flying it. Now I'm back flying it, and I love this thing. The thing that I really love about the CRJ is there's no auto throttle. And what that means is you've constantly got to be paying attention to your speed. You can't just dial in a speed and an altitude and hit VNAV or hit VNAV or hit speed mode and just sit there and be happy about it. You've got to, like you can do, for example, in the 738 or any of the 737s, you've got to have your right hand on the throttle at all times. You got to be paying attention at all times to what is going on. So let's have a little look-see. We've got 8 minutes. Let's go VNAV. Well, I'll show you down here. We'll go VNAV. Next page twice. Then we've got descent info. So Elora is where we want to be at 2,600 feet. See, Elora 2,600 or above. 2,600 or above. That gives us 10 miles to chill as we get ready for Uluba. Once we hit Uluba, drop down to 1,600. You got 5 miles to do it. Reset the altitude on the autopilot up to 4,000. After you've captured 1,600, reset the altitude here up to 4,000. And then once you cross the Beer, we're going to be going probably 140 knots. So that's when you do vertical speed mode down 700 feet a minute. Doink, 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 doink. Pay attention to that 2 DME distance. You gotta kick off the autopilot before that, or the plane will fly the missed approach. So, I've tried this about 10 times now. And I'm kind of disappointed in myself, to be honest with you. As an instrument-rated pilot, I maybe was a little bit full of myself, thinking how cool I was that I knew how to do this stuff. Well, missing a chart detail like that, it's pretty bad. And part of it was from just being like, okay, I wanted to get into the plane and go. But our top of descent coming up here. You know, unloading the flight plan as fast as I can, get the FMC going, blah, 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 blah. Let's get out of here. Well, it's all well and good. But it takes a little more planning, a little more thinking to fly this flight. So, weather in Juliana today is, let's have a look here. This is American 1136, by the way. This is an actual flight, and it was really cool. I had, there's a guy going down to Dominica. He's off to my left over here, and he's flying the real world. This is a real world flight that I'm flying, and he's flying a real world flight as well down to Dominica. Let's see here. Alright, Juliana, weather. Let's see, 1700 Zulu, so we should be safe in terms of not having to get it again before we arrive. Let's see, we got 4 minutes top of descent. Before we do this, let's put in 2,600 feet. Oops, that's 0 feet. Alright, so step 1 of the VNAV process, we've got that in. We're at 37,000 feet, by the way, which is quite a view. Alright, my landing level is set. 20 feet. Let's get the weather here. METAR, current METAR wind 110 at 14 knots. Few clouds at 1600, scattered at 4000. Temperature 30, dew point 24. QNH 1012. And what I like to do when I get my QNH for my destination, what did I say, 1012? Come in and put it here. And then that way, I don't have to try and remember what it is. Once we get below 6,500 feet, which is the transition altitude into Juliana, we will hit that, and we'll be ready to rumble. Alright, 2 minutes, 22 nautical miles from top of descent. So at some point we'll get the snowflake here on the right as we get towards our top of descent. This is a green circle, green arc that I manually put in to give me an approximate top of descent. It just makes it a lot easier to see from a distance. Like if you're, whoopsie, you know, if you're sitting back here like this, you can't see the top of descent, but I can see that ring quite easily. So alright, let's go radios and make sure our frequency is correct. BR Zulu 113.0. There's a trick to the nav modes, auto and manual. I forget what it is. I think you want to keep it in manual so the system doesn't pick up a nearby nav source. Change your radio frequency. So now is when I start getting a little itchy. See, we're almost at our 3 degree descent here. There's 3 degrees. Still 7 miles from our top of descent. Just gonna wait until I see the snowflake. Where's me snowflake? There's me snowflake. Now I'm gonna pull that power right back because that, and I mean right back because I don't want to overspeed this plane. So what we're doing is we're following this snowflake, and we're also following this blue dot. I'll tell you exactly what vertical speed you need to get in. Alright, I am going to turn the cowl anti-ice on just so I don't forget it. Let's go on. Alright. Let's cool the people down. The people want to be cool. They're going to be hot soon enough. Alright, descent checklist. Getting a little bit below the snowflake, so we're going to try and set some power in here. Alright, descent checklist, landing level set, fuel checked. Plenty of fuel. My friend Zarnell there sending me a message. We're always chatting while one of us is flying. And let's see, fuel is checked. TCAS. TCAS, what you want to know is that it's set to below. That's looking out for what's below you. It's going to give you a notification of anything that's below you. Radar is off. Radar doesn't work in Microsoft Flight Simulator, so far as I know. CAS, let's check the CAS. Cal anti-ice is on. Landing data. That's one I actually generally somewhat tend to forget, which is not good. VREF 139. Set that in the in ye ol' airplane, and now we're really getting slow here. All right. So let's brief the approach. Everything is looking good. Everything is looking good. Yaluba 1 arrival. Gouda 087. Gouda at 2,600 feet. Well, we're going to be above that, but 087 heading 12.1 nautical miles to Elora, where we're going to intercept at 2,600. And we've got 10 nautical miles from Elora to Yaluba, where we can expect vectors. Transition level, flight level 065. So we gotta remember that one. BR Zulu approach. Come on, baby. Let's get this one. Alright. ATIS we've got. Approach, I don't believe there is Anyone? Have a quick look on VATSIM. Nah. Alright. Pop Juliet Mike VOR 113.0 is in. Alright. So. Let's see. Final approach course 096. De Beers glide slope intercept at 1600. There really isn't a glide slope. But decision altitude MDA is 500. Airport elevation is 14. Missed approach. Right turn climbing to 4000. Passing through 2600. And within the 10 DME arc, a left climbing turn to the Papa Juliet Mike VOR and hold. It is a non-standard left-hand holding pattern, so we would then put it's a direct entry, so you just make that entry, no big deal. All right. You lube at 1600. Look at this weather. How cool is this? And this is what it looks like. It's just so neat. Absolutely love it. Cross you lube at 2600 down to 16 for De Beer. Altitude pre-select goes up to 4000. Minimum's 500. We're going 140, 738 feet per minute descent. This is a constant descent final approach, which means you cross that, and if you descend at this speed, the proper speed, ground speed that is, for the distance and for your speed, you will be right on glide slope to make a nice straight-in approach. Says the guy who's about to overspeed the airplane and blow it up. At 19,000. Alright, what else do I need to do? Flight attendants advise. Put on the old passenger sign there. Seatbelt. Thrust reversers armed. I know most people don't do this too much later in the process. I'm going to do it right now. Landing gear slats and flaps, baby. So, gosh, this weather is just amazing. Look at this. And this is Caribbean weather. Spotty showers. It's just amazing. It's really amazing. Look at that. About 53 miles out. I think we can turn the cow ice off now. I like putting up these lights a little bit just in case. Just in case it gets a little dark. Makes it easier. I always forget where this one is. Not that many choices. Juliana traffic, American 1136 is 50 miles to the west, inbound runway 10, Juliana. It's 2600 right at Elora. Gosh, it's just so beautiful. Alright. I want to see a pile of sweaty hands at me right now. Particularly since I'm about to bust the altitude here. It's the thing about jets is that everything just happens faster. That's really the biggest difference. They've got wings on them, you know? Wings, flaps. Not that big a deal. Except when it is. Juliana traffic, American 1136, Gouda inbound, 10, Juliana. Okay, so now we are on the way to Elora, excuse me. And next speed is going to be 210 as our minimum clean speed. Altimeter is 1012. All right. throttles are completely at idle right now. Dial that down to 1600 now. So inside Elora. No, I take that back. Oh, don't pause on me now. I'll be ready to add a little bit of power. Juliana traffic, American 1136, 20 miles to the west, inbound runway 10, Juliana. Look at this. All right. First notch of flaps. Now once we get out cap right here, once that stable, once that
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to land. Please remain seated until we have stopped.
boy, it's taking forever.
Juliana traffic, American 2219 are taking off runway 10.
Alright, now we're going to dial that down to 1600. Bring a little bit of power out. Go 8 degrees of flaps, 180 knots. Juliana, traffic American 1136, 10-mile final runway 10, Juliana.
I got you in tickets, I'm gonna take off for runway 10, okay?
You got time.
Thank you.
Once we cross Uluba, Vertical speed mode down 1,000 feet a minute. .20 degrees of flaps. Arm the approach. Localizer 1.
Juliana traffic, American 221 at runway 10 vacated.
Alright, out cap. Come in with some power. At 16. Next speed we want is 140. Now it should automatically switch nav modes, but we'll see. And there we go. Vertical speed down. No, shoot, you bonehead. Vertical speed down. Pull some power. Flaps. Gear. Juliana traffic, American 1136, 3 mile final runway 10, Juliana.
Runway is, the runway is yours, sir.
Thank you, have a nice flight.
It's a happy landing, be careful with the winds.
Roger. And I'm going to kick the autopilot off, put that back up because we're a little bit off to the right. And this is a non-precision approach, and that's what they mean by non-precision approach. It does not bring you to the threshold of the runway.
1,000.
Now, one might argue that all of my approaches are non-precision approaches because they barely make the end of the runway, but now's not the time for jokes. Pull out a little bit of power here. Juliana traffic, American 1136, short final 10, Juliana. Yeah, that's windy. Alright.
$500. 400. 300.
Sync rate. Sync rate.
200. 100.
Sync rate.
50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
American 1136, welcome to Juliana, welcome to Juliana.
That's my friend Zarnell. Thank you, sir. I'm about to run over a car. It's right in the middle of the runway.
Looks like you got a really good landing there, mate.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Alright, so let's turn off the thrust reversers.
I'm using the drone camera right now, flying alongside your aircraft.
Oh, nice. And Juliana traffic, American 1136, back taxiing runway 10, Juliana. So, I mean, it was a little bit unstable, the approach. It wasn't the best, but I got the approach correct, which is what I was really looking for today.
Until the aircraft has come to a complete stop.
And that was fun. It's cool to like, and gosh, look at this weather. It's just awesome. Weather's looking awesome down here, huh?
Yeah, pretty good, man. I'm very happy to see what it's looking like. No more flights for the day?
Say again?
Are you doing any more flights for the day?
Maybe, but probably not.
Okay, no problem.
Man, this is the first time I've been down here where it looks kind of rainy, wet, and gray, which is really just awesome. I mean, this is what it can look like this time in the afternoon, you know? So let's put our flaps up and thrust reversers off. And Juliana traffic, American 1136 will be vacating on Charlie, Juliana. So, all in all, I am pretty satisfied with that. I really am. Landing could have been better, but I got the approach correct. And these things, I'm telling you, man, people who make these planes look easy to land in the simulator, it's not. I mean, momentum has so much to say about what this airplane does. And Juliana, traffic American 1136, clear the runway, Juliana. And Zarnell, you want to go to 122.45?
Roger, roger, roger.
Alright, radio 122.45. And there we go. You up? So 122.45 is what he and I use to chat when we're cruising around.
Ready, set?
Loud and clear.
Okay.
What are you up to, man? You going flying?
Yeah, I was gonna fly, man. I was hoping that you were gonna fly again, but that's okay. I'll probably do something I don't know yet.
I might. I gotta check a few things, but I'm just pretty stoked about this whole thing working out finally.
Oh, so did it go according to plan?
Yep. All the approach, you know, the arrival, the ULUBA-1 arrival, and the approach all worked out. You know.
Sick. You must be glad right now, man.
It only took me 6 tries.
Well, it worked out in the end.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, it's definitely trickier than just doing a straight RNAV approach, you know. So I was pretty happy about it.
Well, man, there you go. You had a goal, and you achieved it.
Yep, it's good stuff, man. Just shutting down the engines now. So yeah, I'm gonna bring in the old jetway here, and I gotta go check a few things. But if I'm gonna fly again, I'll let you know, man. Okay?
All right, no problem, no problem.
All right, brother.
Yeah, man, take care.
You too. Okay. So we got ground. Gotta get the jetway here. All right. Well.
Ladies and gentlemen, the door is open. Please
That's that.
please make sure you have all your personal items and carry-on luggage.
we have miraculously managed to pull off this flight, which is really great. Turn off the boost pumps. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much that. You know? That's pretty much that. So, welcome to Juliana. And, like I said, this is some... I mean, look at this weather. It's just amazing. It just looks so cool. So, I'm going to post this. Probably people don't want to watch it because it's jets and people like watch me fly the Islander, I guess. But this was fun. I'm just trying to challenge myself, do something different. So, hope you guys enjoyed that. Enjoyed watching me sweat. And we'll talk next time.